on the Aggie Sports Network. From Learfield, Aggie basketball has been brought to you by Sports Academy and Racket Club. Your club, your results, your life. Zions Bank. For 150 years of helping you succeed, Zions Bank is for you. Ford. Build Ford proud. Also by Stokes Trucking. Doing the right thing since 1979. Welcome to Aggie Postgame. From the All-in-One Flooring America radio booth, here's Scott Jerrod.
Welcome back to the pit here in Albuquerque. Crazy hard-fought game. It just wasn't enough for Utah State. They lose this game 82-79. A lot of things you can look at in this one on where it may have gotten away from Utah State, led by as many as 10 early in the second half. But New Mexico went on their run. But here's the difference. When New Mexico went on their big run in Logan, it was something in the lines of 43-15. Here, Utah State kept firing back, had the game tied up late at 74 apiece, but in the end, just couldn't get over the top, and the Aggies able to, the Lobos able to escape with the win. Today's postgame show brought to you by Farm Bureau agent Brandon Jensen. Contact him at 435-752-4800. It's your future. Time to protect it. Well, this one stings a bit for Utah State. This is their third loss in Mountain West Conference play, and still with a road game yet to be played against Boise State. They still have to welcome in San Diego State into Logan, so still have to go to Colorado State, which will not be an easy place to play. So there are still some difficult games yet to be played for the Aggies, but again, I think there's some things you can take away from in this game in which Utah State, yes, they did have some unfortunate turnovers down the stretch. Yes, they did make some mistakes, but in the end, it was the free throw shooting discrepancy. How about this? 34-16 from the free throw line. New Mexico plus 14 from the charity stripe. Outscoring Utah State 27-13. Aggies shot a good percentage tonight. They were 13-16. If you would have told me before the game Aggies would shoot 13-16 from the line, boom, you take it. Absolutely. Problem is you don't anticipate that the Lobos would shoot nearly 20 more free throws. And again, as I mentioned in the broadcast, there's a lot of times in a game where you feel like, okay, there's a big free throw shooting discrepancy, but one team's being way more aggressive in trying to force calls than the other team. That wasn't the case tonight. Utah State was just as aggressive as New Mexico in trying to get into the paint and trying to force fouls and trying to get to the free throw line. But sometimes the home team gets the beneficiary, and tonight was certainly one of those nights. It's your Aggie scoring summary brought to you by your Utah pork producers. From farm to fork, Utah pork producers committed to providing nutritious pork products to Aggie fans and families across the state. Visit utahporkproducers.org. All right, tough one tonight. Aggies lose this one, 82-78. We'll take a break, or 82-79, excuse me. We'll take a break, come back, and continue on with your post-game show next on the Aggie Sports Network from Learfield.
Are you looking for compassionate and reliable care for yourself or a loved one? Look no further than Agis Home Health and Hospice. I'm Tom Sherlock, a licensed social worker, part of the dedicated team of professionals committed to meeting the needs of our community. Voted best in Northern Utah 2 years in a row, we pride ourselves on delivering exceptional service that you can depend on. We're here to ensure comfort and dignity every step of the way. When it comes to your health, choose the agency that Northern Utah trusts the most. Choose Agis. Visit myagis.com or call today 435-723-9000.
A diamond is forever and is perfect to represent your love. For those special occasions, give her a natural, one-of-a-kind diamond, as unique as she is. Our exclusive brand of Needham Brilliant Diamonds are white in color, high in clarity, and are recognized for their precise cut. These diamonds are natural, untreated, and are the real thing. Show her you care enough to give her a diamond, an investment for generations to come. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7, where Utah gets engaged. SC Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
Imagine your wedding day. Elegant, simple, yet stunning, stress-free. It's your day. It's all about you. Whether you're looking for small and simple or have a grander idea, the Riverwoods Conference Center will accommodate your every need. Choose the inside ballroom elegance or outside along the natural decor of the beautiful Logan River. A Riverwoods event planner will work personally with you to make sure your event is exactly how you've envisioned it. The Riverwoods Conference Center, where your happily ever after begins. Google Riverwoods Conference Center or call 750-5151 one.
Over the past few years, strong and crazy weather patterns have battered various parts of the country. Northern Utah and southern Idaho are not immune from its share of wild weather. Be prepared for power outages with a Generac backup generator from Golden Spike Electric. They are your local source for Generac sales and service. Generac keeps you in control when bad weather strikes. Golden Spike Electric, powering your peace of mind. Online at gsegenerators.com or call 257-3016. They also service other models.
This Utah State Aggie broadcast is brought to you by Cache Valley Bank. Mountains await. Discover Cache Valley Bank on News Talk KVNU, the heritage home of Utah State sports.
Losers to New Mexico. Great environment, great atmosphere. This is what you love out of college basketball. Situations like this, an incredible environment. This place was packed, over 15,000 people in attendance for this one tonight. But in the end, New Mexico gets the advantage. And you look across the board, everything's pretty much even. Utah State shot a better percentage from the field tonight. Utah State shot more threes. Utah State and New Mexico, turnovers even, rebounding nearly even. Here's your difference, free throw shooting. Utah State 13 of 16 from the free throw line. New Mexico 27 of 34. Lobos had 18 more free throw attempts in this game. 18. And the problem, it's not just about the points in this thing, although ultimately that's what matters, but the fact that Utah State went the last 10 minutes of the first half without Abin Gadarazzi and Carson Templin out on the court. Abin Gadarazzi fouled out with about 6 minutes left to go in the game. And Templin was severely limited in what he could do playing with foul trouble most of the night. So, again, it wasn't just the free throw shooting discrepancy, but you also add on to the fact that it limited Utah State in what they could do from a rotational standpoint. Crowd that's still here cheering Richard Pitino, who puts both fists up in the air as he's fired up for his team, and certainly they deserve it. But I would very much like to see these two teams go at it again in Las Vegas. Tough one. Utah State loses this game 82-79. Let's go through some individual scoring in this game. 23 points for Ian Martinez, 27 for Mason Falslev. Drake Allen in double figures with 11. Then you go with Dayton Albury with 6. Dexter Akano with a point. Isaac Johnson, who had 6. And Isaac Davis, who had a couple free throws as well. So he's got 2 points on the night tonight. But the man tonight was not Donovan Dent. Now, Dent, look, he had 23. Tremendous night. But he had 4 assists. He also turned it over 5 times in this game. It's True Washington, who in his 35 minutes out on the court was 8 of 14 from the field, including 4 of 7 from 3, 25 points, 4 assists. He had 4 steals in this game and 2 block shots. Just a tremendous night for True Washington, who New Mexico does not win this game without True Washington, not just what he did on the offensive side, but on the defensive side, just creating all kinds of havoc for Utah State, forcing turnovers, and we mentioned 4 steals, and frankly, it could have been a lot more had some of those steals not been out of bounds and forced out. So True Washington really the biggest difference in this game for the Lobos. Donovan Dent's going to do his thing, and he played all 40 minutes in this game, and he was absolutely fantastic, but Utah State unable to get over the top. You look at second chance points, Utah State +5, 18-13. Fast break points, Utah State +2. Points in the paint, Utah State +2. The Aggies with the turnovers tonight were able to hold the Lobos in check for the most part, but at the end, the Lobos able to get the victory tonight by 3, 82-79. Joining us now, Coach Calhoun for his post-game conversation. And Coach, there's a lot of things you look on the stat sheet that your team did well, a lot of things you struggled with, but the free throw shooting discrepancy was just monstrous in this game.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I don't know what to say.
I don't mean to lead you off with something that could get you into trouble.
Let's change the page. They shot 30, we shot 13. So we obviously got to be more physical, I guess.
I thought, speaking of physicality, I thought Washington did a good job. Everybody's a little look on the offensive side, but defensive, he did a good job against your point guards.
Yeah, I mean, they do what they do. This is how they play. They play great in the last 10 minutes of the game, and they made a few more plays than us. All of our big guys were fouled out. We had 4 guys trying to rotate the best we could. But, you got to play more physical, obviously, to get the calls.
People are going to talk about the foul shooting discrepancy, but you make the point that it's not just about the foul shots, it's about the fouls and the fact that you didn't have Templin or Gadarazzi nearly the final 10 minutes of the first half. Gadarazzi fouls out with 6 minutes left. What you have to do to juggle your lineup is just remarkable, the fact you're able to stay in this game.
Yeah, it really hurts, how we draw up things, how we run offense. Just totally out of rhythm the whole game. But credit to New Mexico.
When you look at Falsley, who only had 4, a season low in that game against Logan, I thought he responded well in this game.
Yeah, he's a gamer. I mean, there was no doubt about it in my mind when I put my head on the pillow last night that he was going to step up and have a big game, and he did. He carried us, and then Ian finally got going a little bit there too. So give those 2 guys a lot of credit. But at the end of the day, you can't go on the road and give up 82, and they shoot 30 free throws, we shoot 13. There's a lot to look at. I think, Scotty, you got to watch the tape. I just watched the Carson Templin foul. That was not a foul on the clear out. So we're already watching them and dissecting some things that hopefully we can clean up.
Kind of feels like you two are destined for Vegas. I know you got a lot of work to do, but I know you guys and your players in that locker room want another crack at these guys.
Yeah, I mean, the chances of that happen aren't very good, to be honest with you. Tournament time, there's so many upsets and so many things. But, yeah, if we do, we do. And, at the end of the day, they're 2-0 against us. So they're the better team right now. I thought we had this one. I thought our first half offense was absolutely awesome. But, the foul, it just was no rhythm to the game. Very, very chaotic, I thought, with a lot of those those calls.
5 games left on the season. Obviously, some big ones still left and some really good opponents left. What's your message to your guys after this one?
You got to win probably 3 to get in. So it's time to get back to work. Can't hang our heads. It is what it is, and you got to go win basketball games. This time of year, you got to win games. You can't let one loss affect you for Wednesday or Saturday. We know those 2 teams are really good, and you can't expect anything, right, anymore in college basketball. With the turnover and the turmoil, it's just too crazy. Teams get hot. Teams play well. We want to put ourselves in a position. I'm proud of our guys tonight for, a hostile environment, all that kind of stuff, and overcoming the fouls. But at the end of the day, it's a loss. So we got to get back to work and, get out of New Mexico.
Well, I was going to say before I let you go, I mean, when they put the clamps down on in Logan, it was like a 43-15 run in the final 15 minutes. Here, they go on that run, but you still hang in there. I got to imagine there's some lessons you can draw from that for these guys.
Yeah, unfortunately, this time of year, Scott, it's either you win or you lose. Yeah. You know what I mean? So there's no more lessons at this point in the season. You got to get dubs,
Appreciate it, Coach.
Okay, buddy.
There you go. Jerrod Calhoun, Utah State loses this game. 82-79. We'll take one final break and wrap this thing up next right here on the Aggie Sports Network.
You were there. You watched the game. Or you heard it all here on KVNU. So now it's your chance to give your thoughts and ask your questions about the action as KVNU Aggie Game Day continues with Aggie Call. The phone line is 435-753-KVNU. The text line is 435-554-1175. KVNU Aggie Game Day is brought to you by Daryl's Appliance, Advanced Heating and Air, Primrose Home Care and Hospice, Blue Sky Restoration, Advanced Garage Door, The Logo Shop, Advanced Fireplace and Stove, Golden Spike Electric, Alpine Home Medical, S.E. Needham Jewelers, My Mattress, Riverwoods Conference Center, Cash Valley Bank, Aegis Healthcare, Jarrett's Fine Jewelry, Les Olson IT, Adams Wealth Advisors, DD Auto and Salvage, LSS Insurance Agency, Cafe Sabor, The Sportsman. It's KVNU Aggie Call with J.D. Walker and Stockton Jukes.
Well, they say if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all, but you know what?
For that reason, I'm walking out of the studio right now.
The rest of Aggie Call will all be, text by Braille, so we don't break FCC rules. The Aggies drop one 82-79 to the New Mexico State Lobo referees, and Mike Littlewood, former BYU coach there. And, I think this song, I Fought the Law and the Law Won, it's a little appropriate because there was such a discrepancy in fouls today. We will get into all of that. 13 fouls called on the Lobos. Just outrageous. 28 or 14 on the Lobos. 28 on the Aggies. Stockton, Jukes, help me out, man. I'm on the edge. I'm on the cliff. Like, this team, I have no beef with the team. I have no beef with Coach Calhoun.
No, Utah State should have won this game. They should have won this game by 9 points.
Absolutely.
They should have won this game by 9 points, but Mike Littlewood cannot get his ego out of his throat and officiate a basketball game like a normal human being. Known BYU guy, got fired from the BYU baseball team. Why is he even here? Ethically, why is he coaching? Why is he officiating a Utah State basketball game as a former coach of a rival? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. BJ Rains, who covers Boise State, says, nice win for New Mexico, but don't tell me that home court doesn't matter in this league.
Is it the home court effect or is it the Mike Littlewood effect?
Well,
I'm really confused at this point.
The free throws say it all. Utah State Aggies taking care of business. 13 of 16 at the line. The Lobos, 27 to 34, 28 personal fouls. I'm not that guy to harp on that. I'm not that guy to jump on that. I don't like to make that my soapbox. But Stockton,
I've tried real hard over the last couple weeks to 180 from the officiating talk because it was really starting to get down my like it was really starting to bug me and it was really starting to wear me down. And I heard what Calhoun said on the coach's show about, I'm just trying to back off because, what can you say? At this point, what can you say? They're not going to listen. There's just no point. How can you not say anything at this point? And I'm sorry, but I disagree with Calhoun's decision to just stay away from all of it. He should have been in the official's face for the second half of that second half.
Getting texts and stuff like that.
He would have gotten teed up. He would have gotten teed up. The officials would have taken it out on Utah State, but that wouldn't have been a change from how the game was already going. And to me, you have to start giving it back to the officials that are going to act like this because they just keep doing it because no one holds them accountable.
Well,
no one yells at them. There's no punishment. Mike Littlewood's still going to have his job in the morning, even though he shouldn't. And it's just a ridiculous set of circumstances that keep leading to terrible, terrible outcomes of what should be really good basketball games. This should have been a very enjoyable 3-point game. New Mexico played a fantastic game. But they shouldn't have been up by 3 points. They should have been down by 9 because Mike Littlewood gave them a free dozen points at the free throw line.
Yeah, it's something. You heard it in Coach Calhoun. He said he wanted to stay away from it, didn't want to get in trouble, getting flashbacks of the Marshawn Lynch. I'm just here so they don't find me. But also you got to realize that Coach Calhoun was vocal about Tony Nunez and the bump and everything like that. We didn't hear how that all played out, but something tells me that Coach Calhoun is being told to be, temper his emotions down. Listen, and it's also coming from a conference. Let's look at this. That we're out the door too. So they
were very quick to post something quippy on Twitter as soon as New Mexico won. They said the Mountain West always delivers.
Yeah,
delivers what? Terrible officiating and lopsided foul shots. What are you bragging about here? That could have been a good basketball game, but the officiating that you're paying for and supporting is ruining your conference.
So, Jalen, we're going to jump to you right now. So, I'm going to let you know, Stockton and I are ready to go rage room.
I jumped off the cliff 20 minutes ago.
So, Jalen, Moore joining us here on Aggie Call. Give me your first thoughts of this basketball game we watched this Sunday afternoon.
No, I agree with you guys, what you guys are saying. I honestly thought both teams looked good. Both teams played hard, made big shots, made big plays. It's hard to say. The game's almost pretty much even. Rebound is even. Field goal percentage is pretty even. They out-rebound us a little bit, but, turnovers are even. Guys are making big plays. People are making big shots. Guys are making big defensive plays. It's a good back-and-forth game that we kind of called before, hey, there's going to be some momentum swings. But I agree with you guys. I'm a type of guy that wants to see a game be played out without, refs being able to determine the outcome. And I think they, had a say in that when you see they shoot just so many more free throws than us. We were already talking about it before the game. We're already at a disadvantage with our big guys because of Junior Joseph and just the load that he is down low already. And then two of our better big guys in Templin and Gadaretzi can't get anything going because they don't get to have a chance to get in a rhythm because of how many fouls they call on them. And they call on them, quickly, where they, like I said, they don't get to get anything going. Isaac Davis has to play a little bit. Isaac Johnson has to play some. And honestly, I thought they both did a good job for the circumstances that they were thrown into the game under. It's just such a good game that can and was determined by a lot of the officiating. And like I said, guys made big shots. Mason hitting big shots. Ian, Donovan Dent, Washington, like those 4 guys looked legit tonight. Like those 4 guys looked like 4 of the best guys in the conference. And it was fun to watch. I just hate to see, like you guys said, officiating just determine an outcome of a really good basketball game with a lot riding on it.
Talking to Jalen Moore here, brought to you by Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning. AdvancedHeating-AC.com to schedule your service today. Jalen, how does this look? I mean, I don't want to be the guy that harps on it, but it was really a great basketball game between New Mexico and the Aggies. You take away the foul issue, it totally changes the game. And in fact, I would almost say it would end in a different outcome for the Aggies with the fouls. But you said everyone played to execute. I cannot come up with one Aggie that I'm disappointed in or thought had a below-average performance. I thought everybody stepped and held their composure, even when getting those, fouls called. How hard is it as a player when you're going through this and you don't feel like things are being called your way, but there's nothing really you can do about it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. There's nothing you can do about it. And it's hard because we're winning some of the game. And so it's hard, like people want Calhoun or players to get upset, but it's like when you're in the heat of the moment in the game, like you're looking at it like, yeah, these are some bad calls, but like I can't do something that's going to give them more free throws with the clock stopped, free points. Like I'm trying to do everything to keep them off the free throw line, So like a lot of situations you look at it there where it's like a technical's like not going to benefit you guys in that way because we're winning a decent amount of the game. And then when they were winning, New Mexico, it was single digits a lot of the game. So it's like you don't want to do anything to determine what your team potentially could do. But yeah, it's a frustrating thing as players, especially when like all the guys are playing hard. That's the other thing too. Like I thought both teams played hard, like diving on loose balls. Both teams want it. Both teams knows what's riding on this game. I thought both teams looked good. They looked like the 2 best teams in the Mountain West Conference, outside of just some of the officiating not being good. And like you guys said, I think there's just certain circumstances that just outright playing like bad calls and stuff. Like I would like to see some officials be held accountable for certain things like that, but there just hasn't been something like that yet.
Apparently, nobody will give me a death ray. Apparently, I'm too dangerous for it, Jalen. Apparently, erratic. When somebody makes a call, I would just, zoom them real quick. But how do you come back from this? San Jose State comes in to the Spectrum. We're back home Wednesday. The odds are in our favor. Gamecast, the matchup predictor, saying it should be an overwhelming Aggie win. Do you think there's going to be any hangover from the output of this game, or do you think this game is going to be a motivation point for this team that really, in a loss, played its most complete game of the season for me?
Yeah, I agree. Like, that's the thing is, like, I think it's going to be a motivation thing. Like, they played good enough to win the game. Like I said, you look at the stats, it's so even. Like, it's like the free throws are literally the thing that sets it apart. And we're like talking about how our team needs to shoot free throws better, and we go 13 or for 16 or something like that. We're doing everything that everybody wanted to see us do better, So I thought we did everything that we could to try to win this game. I think it's going to be a motivation thing. I think San Jose comes in here, and we win. You look at the rest of the remainder of the schedule. We've beat the remaining teams. You got your redemption against UNLV. Your other 2 losses are against New Mexico, and you probably won't see them again until the conference tournament, So I think you feel good about it. We looked good. We played hard. I think guys like Isaac Johnson and Isaac Davis that came in, I can see that they can give us some minutes if we need that. Drake's really, really doing well in his role off the bench. And like I said, I think the remainder of the season, we will see guys like Carson, Templin, Gattaretzi, they will do more and affect the game more because they will get to play more. And yeah, I guess like Calhoun said, I guess let's play more physical since that's how they, are going to let people play. So that's what I think we got to do.
Hey, Jalen, we look forward to talking to you Wednesday night. And if things don't calm down here, would you check in on bail for me in Stockton if things get crazy?
Yeah, for sure. I'll make sure to check in on you guys.
All right, Jalen, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you, man.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you guys.
Jalen Moore's appearance brought to you by Advanced Garage Door. They sell peace of mind, lifetime warranty on rollers, springs, doors, and tracks. And the Sportsman has been providing Cache Valley with an extensive variety of all-season sporting goods since 1947. Here's the number, 435-554-1175. That's 435-554-1175. That is the text line if you want to sound off about dropping the game to the officials in New Mexico. 82-79, the Aggies with their first loss of the season versus the Stripes. You can call 435-753-KVNU at 753-5868. Get you to the front of the line. Stockton, you've had a couple minutes. Jalen's had a chance. Have you calmed down just a little bit?
Nope.
I want to share this with you. Tom Mosser shared this. He said, I'd be frustrated.
Oh, yeah, I just read that.
For sure, if I was an Aggies fan. You guys played their tails off, and you probably feel like you didn't get a fair shake. If we're lucky, we'll get round 3 in the Mountain West Championship.
Brother, I don't just feel like it. You look at the box score, we did not.
Yeah,
it's pure and simply did not. We just had a text come in asking about why Isaac Davis isn't getting more genuine minutes. Probably because he got called for 4 personal fouls in the 4 minutes that he was on the floor.
Yeah, it was.
They were targeting Utah State's bigs tonight because those are the only guys they can keep up with Nelly Jr. Joseph.
It was definitely an interesting call the way it was going. I really, as I said, I really don't like to be that guy that calls the official stuff. I like to look at it, but as it gets to the certain point, you started seeing it where there was a point where Isaac was headed towards the basket and got hip checked. Hit the ground.
Tabletopped in midair.
Yeah, it got
slammed
hip
into the ground horizontally. And even the broadcast, who you and I agreed were very pro New Mexico almost the entire time. CBS, goodness gracious. But even they said, yeah, that was a big miss by the official there. That wasn't the only one.
The broadcast team made me feel like it was mailed in. Like Avery Johnson, I respected him as a player and everything, but man, that guy was swinging from New Mexico the whole game.
There are some players who make really good analysts, but I truly don't think that just because you played a sport at a professional level means that you can translate that onto a mic. It's a different skill set. Obviously, your analysis is going to be a lot better, but not everyone is meant to go from the court to the microphone. It's just not. It doesn't always translate. Some guys are not media prepared. They just don't like being that vocal, that outgoing. But then just all of the stuff that was happening tonight was everything just felt like it was very targeted at very certain people. Utah State, from whatever. I'm going to try and hold my tongue here because I know there's a lot of contextual stuff going on between the Mountain West and Utah State, but
it's just weird.
Really questionable stuff happening right now. And to have Mike Littlewood be involved in that game, the marquee game that's been, billed as the marquee game in the Mountain West for weeks and weeks and weeks. ESPN called it the most important NCAA game of the day for the remainder of the season today. To have that kind of officiating where everyone except for New Mexico fans in the conference are all saying that was weird. That was odd.
You got
Where's
reporters,
the accountability?
beat writers and stuff.
You've got BJ Rains. You've got Colorado State fans. I mean, holy crap.
Trying to figure
this is like the coincidences are off the charts right now.
I mean, if you look at it, Donovan Dent had a great game. And if you're listening to the TV broadcast, you'd think Donovan Dent was the new Luka in L.A., but Mason, it is really unfortunate. Mason had one heck of a game, 10 for 16.
27 points.
Yeah, it's 4 for 7 from three-point land, 3 for 3 from the field, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 5 steals.
Guess what my favorite stat is, though?
What was that?
3 for 3 from the free throw line.
Oh, my God.
He made all his free throws.
Yeah, he did. He did very much so.
Ian made all his. Isaac made all his. Isaac looked really good from the free throw line. 81% from the free throw line. Utah State finally addresses the free throw issues, and guess what? Mike Littlewood's in the building, so it doesn't matter.
All right, let's get to some of these texts. 5452. The refs did. Oh, hold on. The refs inserted themselves into this game early and often. Half the Aggie team was in foul trouble midway through the first half. 28-15 foul discrepancy. It was ridiculous. Prop to the Aggies for fighting through it. Nonsense. Yeah, I think it's kind of the same thing we've been talking about. Really what needs to stand out here is the Aggies only losing by 3, and you could even say it's much closer than that. It was really that close to the end despite the foul differential. So the fight in this team actually feel like this was more of a complete performance from everyone having to step in. as a team because of the foul trouble, because of there were ghost fouls too.
Well, and they started to let that swing that New Mexico had in the spectrum happen at the same time it happened in that first game, but they cut it off and they came back and they hung in there with them. If they're allowed to play defense, they win this game by 8 points. I cannot get over the fact that you go up to a guy with your hand straight up, you jump straight up into the air, and he jumps into you with his back to you, drops his shoulder, and you get called for the personal foul. That happens more than once in that entire game.
That was, oh my, okay, well, you know what? Sorry, I got to take care of this real quick. Little housekeeping.
All right, moving up the text line, 65-43. Good game. Problem for both teams is that there aren't good enough teams in this conference to give these two teams consistently tough games. That'll be a problem in the tournament. Yeah, I agree. It's been a little disappointing, some of the other teams in the conference and not really being tested to the level that these two teams can play, because when they play each other, it's really good basketball. Unfortunately, just not really. The bottom half of the conference is not keeping pace, and I think that was kind of a big reason that some of these schools wanted to look for some more consistently tough competition.
Yeah, going to 2584, actually there in Albuquerque. I'm in Albuquerque, and the Pit has a great atmosphere, second to the spectrum. The students make it different. I love the Herd. Not going to say much about the negative 13 differential. Yeah, I agree. I've been to the Pit. It is a great atmosphere. I'm going to lead towards the spectrum. I've never sat in that front row like that in front of the Herd, and that is quite the experience. So, yeah, and just one of those things. Up next, 2444. Wow, don't even, if I've ever seen a game where the officiating was one more sided in my life, Aggies absolutely deserve to win that one. I think that's going to be kind of the theme that we see going on here. One of the things that I think is a positive I'm going to pull from this is they did 3 points. Like a couple fouls go the other way, and this could be a different thing that. Yeah.
If Utah State is allowed to play defense and they get away with the stops that they actually got, and instead of having to watch the other team shoot two ghost free throws on a good defensive stop, this game is not as close as it is at the end. Utah State wins this comfortably.
Yeah. Up next, 0839. I'd fear for my life, too, if I had to ref a game in Albuquerque.
Valid.
I hear it's not that horribly bad. 6001. I know everyone is going to say something about the refs, but even with the reffing, those clutch threes by Ian and Mason were nice. I love the fight in this team, hoping for a great end of the season.
100%. And that is one of the reasons I am so upset about the way that this game turned out officiating-wise, is because Ian and Mason finally came back, and they played their hearts out. They should have won that game. They played a winning basketball game tonight against the team that got the better of them 2 weeks ago. They learned what they needed to learn. They improved what they needed to improve upon, and they played like the two best players on this team, like we know that they should be. And they got the game stolen from them.
Yeah, Carson had a rough one with 4 fouls. Isaac with 4 fouls. Both Isaacs with 4 fouls. Gatarazzi with 5, and I'm pretty sure a couple of those ghosts. I think, Carson's had a great season. I argued on X, we were talking about it. I think he's the MVP of this team. When you think about it, the heart and soul, the fire that he brings. But 6th man of the year, I got to throw this out a little bit. Drake Allen, 13 points, 10 assists, 3 steals.
He's been so good.
Oh, man, 2 rebounds. And some of the stuff he does on those steals, him and Mason with the steals, the way they almost launch themselves like a missile and go after the ball. It was just, actually, the more I think about it now, I'm okay with this. I'm not okay with the way the officiating went.
No,
but
I'm very pleased with the Utah State
grateful
output.
For the output of the way these guys go. And if I was San Diego State and San Jose State and everybody who's left, I would watch this and say, hey, look, the officials called this one that, there might have been. If you have
an even foul shot total, then Utah State wins by 8 points. And I will go to bed believing that. I'll wake up believing it, and I'll die believing it.
So going up next, so I like that. I like the fight that you brought up, 6001. 9315, let's see. Yep, circled the yeah, I'll leave this right here. Yeah, I see.
Yep.
9315. The water cooler talk in Cache Valley tomorrow will be the referees in the Lobos game, and they will not be the most loved people here. Is the Mountain West going to give retaliation for some of their members going to the pack? It could. there could be all sorts of conspiracy theories and stuff. There are some people out there that believe the earth is flat. Some think it's square. Some think it's round. So there's all sorts of stuff there. Do I think it's prevalent? No, because if it leaked and human nature is stuff to leak, it would destroy the careers of everybody involved. It would all that. So I get the conspiracy theories, but yeah.
No, I think it's a convenient win for the conference tonight, but I don't think they had a direct hand in it.
No, yeah,
that's getting to the level of like super spy movie stuff, and we're not. We live in the real world. So.
We're not there. We're not there yet. And plus, these officials.
If you have to ask me what I think it is just subconscious human bias. I mean, Mike Littlewood was a BYU baseball coach. I don't know how else to explain it.
Oh, that's interesting. This one coming from the bullshit, and I'm surprised because he said that the FCC wouldn't allow it, but he figured out a way around it. Okay, the FCC appropriate version of my comments are a lot shorter tonight. USU should have won this game. The referees had a massive influence on the game tonight. Unfortunately, it sucks, but we need to move on to the next game. Karma is you-know-what, and we'll be seeing them in Vegas. Mark my words.
Oh, yeah. If we get them on a neutral floor with an official not named Mike Littlewood, it's going to be a great basketball game.
And we're working on transporting the herd, and with Dallin Wilson, the president of the herd and all that, trying to help raise awareness to get as many people down there. I tell you what, we pack a tour bus, a party bus to go down there and hang out and get it sponsored by Red Bull and Monster and just get everybody hyped up and turn them loose in the Thomas and Mack. We could take over that place. Easy.
And they do. I mean, Utah State does a great job of making sure it's spring break when that tournament rolls around. The students are able to drive down there. They love doing it. So I think they'll be there. They'll be loud, and they will certainly remember what we just watched.
KVNU 102.1 FM Logan, 610 AM, and around the world to Aggie fans at kvnutalk.com. Coming up next, 1790. Akano and Anderson no-show. Davis deserves real minutes. I don't understand why he's not getting minutes. Why can't we play 4 and 5? He's a true
Davis
freshman.
Got called for 4 personal fouls in 4 minutes on the floor. It was not they didn't want to play him. It was he got targeted from the second he stepped on the floor and was not able to get meaningful minutes because he was not allowed to play defense.
Yeah, it's just he faced the same challenge that every other Aggie big faced tonight.
He's also young and inexperienced, and some of the fouls he was committing were genuine fouls. I mean, that's the thing about him is he's going to foul, and he's going to make sure you don't make it if he's going to foul you. But 2 of them, I think, were genuine fouls. 2 of them were just trying to get him out of the game,
And look, Davis is a freshman, and he's got time to develop with Calhoun, and he's rough around the edges. It'll take time and smoothing and molding, and
but that size is going to bode well for him and for Utah State going forward. And I think that once he is able to get some decent minutes in without getting into foul trouble, we'll start to see that.
And I absolutely believe that Dexter Akano and Tucker Anderson are better than Davis is at this point in the career. And plus, with the problems with the bigs today, having that wingspan and size of Tucker Anderson out there on the floor, I think was a necessity today in Foul Fest down there in Albuquerque.
1849, not engaging with that, man. I'm sorry that you're still really hung up on this, but we're talking about a basketball game today.
5634. I would love to play the Lobos in the Mountain West tournament. They can't beat us the 3rd time, but heck, the refs were horrible today. Yeah, I don't think next Valentine's Day Mike Littlewood's going to be. Actually, we should all send him a card next Valentine's Day, just to show our appreciation, or when he retires. Coming up, 4151 here on Aggie Call. J.D. Walker, Stockton Jukes with you. I love the effort of the team tonight compared to when we played at New Mexico and Logan. I love the minutes provided by Isaac Davis in the first half. We need to figure out a way for our big men to stop Joseph in the Mountain West tournament. Aubin actually had some great defensive sets against him. And that last foul on Aubin, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but he was hands straight up. Joseph Jr. leaned back into him to go to get the thing, and they called the foul on Aubin.
That's specifically what I was talking about 5 minutes ago. Is like, listen, if you're gonna play basketball, you got to let the guys play basketball. You got to let him stick his hands in the air and play defense on him. He's allowed to occupy his space. If Nelly Jr. Joseph wants to come in his space, then he's got to get there, and he's got to shove him out of the way, which is an offensive foul. Now, I think that Utah State figured out Junior Joseph a lot better tonight, and I think Aubin played a lot stronger tonight. I just don't think he was allowed to play the game of basketball. Point blank, period.
Jason Kelly follows UNLV. I'm just never going to feel sorry for Utah State when it comes to officiating. I think there's a little Ian Martinez bias back there. But the University of New Mexico get homecoming cooking on this one? Absolutely. This is the first time this season I've seen pretty much every beat writer I follow for Mountain West Conference opponents, except for the Lobos. They're talking about that. They're
the 29 fouls called on Utah State via Jason Walker is either tied with or is the most ever against the Aggies in a single game. The only other two he could find was 29 in a 2018 game and back in a 1971 NCAA tournament game.
This moment of silence brought to you by stuff that I don't want to say about the officiating right now. But
the FCC can't throw me in prison tonight. I have to go on vacation.
Blue Sky Restoration is your restoration team. If you have water damage, storm damage, smoke, fire, or official damage that hurt you, tell Blue Sky Restoration and they can help you. Golden Spike Electric. Don't let Mother Nature spoil your night. Get a generic backup generator installed today. Call Golden Spike at 257-3016. Just about 29 degrees and snowing outside the KVNU studios as we are rolling through your text here on Aggie Call. 8387. Death, taxes, and horrible officiating. It's like
the Mountain West always provides, right?
I'm like, the referees were busy last weekend with the Super Bowl with Taylor's boyfriend and everything. What, did we get the Chiefs officials today?
And listen, this is equally as much as this is not against Utah State. It's not against New Mexico. That's a really good basketball team. I mean, they have the same record as us now for a reason. They're very talented at playing basketball. That being said, we played better than them tonight. Almost every single statistic you can look at, field goal percentage, free throw percentage, three-point percentage, everything but the rebounds was in Utah State's favor, and a lot of that was because Utah State wasn't allowed to box out, wasn't allowed to defend, wasn't allowed to rebound. So I think this is two really good basketball teams, and it would have been a very enjoyable game if it had been officiated correctly.
It's crazy. The NBA All-Star game tonight, or the 5 All-Star games they're having, their round-robin tournament or whatever, I thought that was going to be the biggest joke in basketball this today, but turns out it was the officiating.
Oof.
Like, the more I think
a baseball coach becomes the biggest joke in basketball. What a turn of events.
I'm really trying not to get real frustrated and upset about this, but the more I think about it, we just went through Aubin's, fouls and literally hands straight up, and then Carson picked up Carson picked up just so horrendous. Many fouls, so quick.
Aubin was only on the floor for 7 minutes, and he picked up 5 personal fouls. And he had a +8 in the efficiency column.
Oh, my. Okay, hold on. Carson was on the floor. Do you have Carson's minutes?
Carson was on the floor for 17 and picked up 4. Isaac Davis was on the floor for 4 minutes and picked up 4. Isaac Johnson was on the floor for 11 minutes and picked up 4. They were just going after Utah State's big men, and Nelly Jr. Joseph was being allowed to do whatever he wanted to do. Now, there's a moment in the last 5 minutes of the game where New Mexico's shooting free throws. Nelly Jr. Joseph elbow hooks the 2 guys next to him for Utah State and then tries to squirm around and puppy eye the official to draw a whistle against Utah State. That's what he does the entire game. That is the brand of basketball that he plays. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because it's working for him right now. But Utah State has to know that all he does is just bait and switch. There's ways to deal with that.
Yeah, it's hopefully a rematch, hopefully in the Mountain West Conference tournament. And we see, a little bit level foul calls, but we also see the same amount of energy from the Aggies. I got to tell you, I'm more angry at the officiating on this one. And yes, we're going to beat this dead horse, and then we're going to let the dead horse, go to heaven.
I'm going to hang it up from a tree like a piñata and go out for 30 minutes a day for the next 2 weeks.
No, I've got to let it go because I'm getting really angry about this. But just looking, Jalen and we were all talking. The Aggies had to win the rebound battle. Dropping the 3-point loss, they dropped the rebound battle 35-27. Won the assist battle 18-10. Steals, 12 steals to 8 steals. The turnovers were even 14-14. Everything pretty much even in this game. The Aggies shot, when you look at the stats across the board, from the field, from 3-point, from free throw land, from the charity stripe. All the shooting percentages.
They did everything right, and they did everything better. It just, sometimes you fight the law, and the law wins.
Isn't that the truth? All right. I'm sure the refs will make sure the Mountain West tournament goes to Mexico. I'm sure Navarro will make sure of it. I'm not going to jump in on that. USU got Heisenberged by the refs, like the little gift there to 2070. Appreciate it.
Because it's in Albuquerque.
Oh, yeah. That's the only thing they got going for them. I can't wait. I can't wait for the rematch. From 8824, Albury is the one guy we have that is not intimidated by pressure and can get to the hoop whenever he wants. I would like to see him on the court down the stretch when we need ball handling. Drake played well, but Washington really created havoc with him as the primary ball handler. Washington is I believe, is the guy they deploy. Drake was carving them up.
And True Washington was bodying Drake on just about every other transition drive that Drake Allen had. That's another reason the officiating was so frustrating, not because it was just a big disparity, but because New Mexico was allowed to play defense very physically, and Utah State wasn't allowed to breathe on the other end of the court. That's when officiating is really magnified as poor, in my opinion, is if you're calling ticky-tack fouls on both ends, guess what? Both teams are suffering. Both teams have to figure out a way through it. New Mexico, they were playing NBA Street 08 out there, and Utah State was having to play freaking golf. It's beyond me how that is allowed to happen consistently in a Division I basketball league, because it's not the first time it's happened, and it won't be the last. Anyway, Dayton Albury is really good, and I think that you've got to do whatever you can to keep him healthy and keep him as a primary driver of the offense. That being said, I think he's better when he's not the immediate ball handler and he can come off some screens and kind of start his drive in motion, wrapping around some people. So the setup they've got right now is good offensively. And again, they played a great game tonight. They did enough to win. Sometimes you got to deal with influences that shouldn't be on a basketball court.
That's true. All right, we're going to hear from Coach Calhoun. We got about a 6-minute post-game presser from him. I'm pretty sure he wanted to get out of Albuquerque.
Oh, goodness gracious. You could tell as soon as he sat down with Scotty, he just wanted to say as little as possible. And I think it's really sad that coaches have to be more concerned about being honest than officials have to be concerned with doing their jobs correctly.
Yeah, the fact that he said that alluded to not get in trouble and stuff like that, and we didn't really hear anything about the Tony Nunez
stuff. The priorities are
so
off,
and so it's really interesting. We're gonna get to a day and age where we should be able to like Survivor style the officials and stuff like that, and actually have them hold up to the merits and things like this, because. Yeah, I can just go on a soapbox again.
Listen, so at the end of all this, I want to say I think both teams played a fantastic basketball game. Two very talented basketball teams, and if it weren't for the officiating, that would have been a really fun basketball game to watch.
Because how would it have stacked up if the bigs didn't get every single Aggie big?
And if you let both teams play physically like that, and you let them both kind of go after each other, they were happy to play that brand of basketball. They just weren't allowed to tonight, and that's a shame. But I really do hope that, I really do hope that they're able to meet again in the Mountain West tournament, because that's a really fun, really high-quality matchup.
Yeah, that was one of the best basketball games I've watched this season. I really felt like the Aggies put it together, and everybody was in asking to do what they were going to do. Now, does that mean everybody excelled to what you would see on the stat sheet? No, that means when they were asked to do certain things by Coach Calhoun and the staff, they executed those things. Now, with that being ready, I imagine that Mason, Ian, and Coach Calhoun and company are coming for a big whooping against San José State.
I guarantee they're frustrated, but I also think that they know that they played a very good basketball game today. Yeah, they don't have a whole lot to hang their heads about.
If they execute Stockton the game plan that they executed today,
maybe you need to identify as an issue and maybe work on rebounding positioning and where guys are on defense, to where you have, bigs able to pop out into these empty corners and just pick up kind of free offensive rebounds. Some of that's just kind of strategic placement stuff, but I really don't think that there's anything to be upset about as an Aggie fan other than the Zebras.
Yeah, I really think the officiating is where it's at. So do you see, I see a pretty big bounce back coming back. I don't think this is going to be a trap game. Josh Aduje is their guy. He's coming back to the Spectrum. He's going to get welcomed, as he should. He's a former Aggie. He'll get some love, but he should get the full treatment from the Herd. The Herd will be in full force. It's coming up Wednesday night. What's your first thoughts on the matchup against the Spartans?
I think we unleash fury upon them and win by 35.
This very well could be the spark that the team kind of needed. Not that they really needed it at 22-4, but
no. But this is now twice you've been beat by the same team. Your weaknesses have been exposed. You played a much better game tonight, and still, for one specific reason, you weren't able to get the job done. So, I think this team has found its identity. Mason and Ian having those kinds of games is really promising for me, and I think we're on the way back up.
I hear you. I think this is one of those things that they'll use to motivate them, and hopefully we see them run the table.
One more text we got in from 8968.
Okay.
I was told by one of my basketball coaches, if you're going to rely on officials to win games for us, we won't win many. Amen, brother. Where the Aggies got hosed, let's hope for a rematch and not have an ex-BYU player as a ref.
4-1-5-1. Everyone needs to make plans to go to the Mountain West Tournament, help cheer on the Aggies to beat New Mexico for the real championship. Let's go, Aggie fans. I tell you.
I would if I didn't have to be here.
Yeah, I'm kind of attached to a little bit of a microphone here, and that's one of the things. But, yeah, if you're able to go, we will do whatever we can to get you out of work. We will come up with creative solutions, doctor's notes. I'm pretty sure we could get a doctor.
See if the Space Dynamics Lab has any weather altering machines that we can get and create a snow day.
That would be perfect. So we're going to take a little bit of time here, play Coach Calhoun's post-game comments. I'm not sure if we're going to get, do you think we're going to get spicy Coach Calhoun, or do you think we're going to get, I'm just here so I don't get fined, Coach Calhoun? What do you think, Stockton?
I don't know. I think Jerrod Calhoun, after he had his little bump and run with Tommy Nunez, he said exactly what he wanted to say. He probably got reprimanded for it heavily, which is ridiculous to me because Tommy Nunez was officiating a game the very next night. Mm-hmm. But again, I think that just speaks to the fact that priorities are in the wrong place, and we shouldn't be more concerned about slapping coaches on the wrist for speaking their minds than we should about punishing poor performance. There should be a clear priority here.
And there's gonna have to be some eyes looked at this game, but it's got to raise some eyebrows when you look at the calls in the differential and everything.
Hey guys, I'm going to say this one more time, and then we're not going to talk about this on this show ever again. If you are still complaining about something that happened 7 months ago and has been well documented, and now I know that there's more stuff coming out, but this is not our job.
We're here to talk about basketball.
We're here to talk about a basketball game that happened today. I appreciate that people are very passionate about things that happen in this community and about the people involved with this community. This is unfortunately not your platform. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it won't be addressed. We're focusing on the basketball team and the football team. If you want to talk sports the other time, Eric and Jason's got the full court press over there on the Fan at 106.9 FM. They do it 4 to 6 every Monday through Friday. Get you the latest Aggie news, and they have the in-depth conversations that you can have over here. Over here, we will focus on the Aggies basketball team, Coach Calhoun and company. And speaking of, here's Coach Calhoun's post-game thoughts on the loss to New Mexico.
So we just ready to get started right now?
Yeah, let's roll, buddy. I got to get explained.
All right. Well, just a tough game. I mean, you guys hung in there, foul trouble, still had a chance at the very end, even though you got down by 6 or 7 towards the end. Still had a chance after the fight, but I know that the end result was not what you wanted.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to overcome when all your guys are in foul trouble. I give our guys a ton of credit. I thought Isaac Davis, all these guys battled. But, it's really hard when you just have a lot of different mismatch lineups. It was a very no rhythm type of game. I think they shot 30 free throws. We shot 13. That's a big number, so we had to balance some of those things, throughout this game. So it's tough, but give New Mexico credit. Really, really good win for them. But we can't let one loss turn into 2. There's 5 games left, 2 at home this week. We have to have a sense of urgency and finish this season strong in the regular season.
Coach, this is Jason Walker. How do you ultimately look at that second half where you guys did so much well, but ended up just coming short on just a couple of plays there at the end?
Yeah, like I said, just battling the fouls. I mean, it was, when you don't have Gatoretsky in there and you don't have Templin in there, it's a totally different, play diagram. It's hard to explain, but just we couldn't run our normal stuff, right, with Fish in there and Isaac Davis. So I thought we got out of whack a lot throughout this game. But there's a reason, Donovan Dent will probably be the player of the year in the conference, right? He made big play after big play. Nelly Joseph Jr., I've said for the NIL collective here at New Mexico, for them to retain those guys, that's an unbelievable effort because those kids could play anywhere in the country. The loyalty they showed to New Mexico and really them stepping up as a collective, in a donor base is unbelievable because those two kids are elite players.
Hey, Coach, Patrick Mayhorn from the Ag Ship. I want to ask about Mason. 27 points, 6 rebounds. He seems to really have gotten his groove back offensively and just in general. What do you have to say about his performance here and what he gave to the team?
Yeah, I think the last couple of weeks it's been brewing, right? I think he wasn't playing to his standard and to his liking. And, the last couple of games, we just been dialing it up for him. He's been delivering, whether it's on drives, whether it's on wide pins, whether it's on shuffles. He had that look in his eye. He did the best he could. Very, very proud of his effort tonight. I thought he was relentless throughout the whole game. And we're going to need that down the stretch, right? This is the most critical part of the season. The next 2 weeks will probably determine our postseason fate. And we got to be ready to go. And he certainly has that look in his eye.
Coach, this is Jason again. I know you talked about Dent, but True Washington also really big game from him. Seemed to give guys problems in this game and the previous game as well. What's kind of the matchup issue with him?
Yeah, just a gamer, right? I mean, you're pretty much standing wide open, and he makes open threes, right? When you pretty much put so much pressure trying to guard Donovan Dent, somebody on their team is going to have to step up, and that's him. He made some plays off the bounce. He made some threes. It's a great luxury to have the best point guard and the best 5-man in the league. I can tell you that. I had it 2 years ago at Youngstown State, and it's absolutely awesome because it opens everything for the 2, 3, and the 4. And True Washington is making a living on playing off of those two guys, and he's doing a great job.
Hey, Coach, Patrick Mayhorn again. How important is it that your leaders, your Drake Allens, Mason Falslev, Ian Martinez, Dexter, that those guys step up in the wake of a loss like this, and how confident are you that they'll do that?
Yeah, I mean, we've done it all year. We've only lost 4 games. So if it was a repeat pattern that we haven't seen, then you would be worried. But these guys are competitive guys, and I think they understand what's on the line is an NCAA tournament berth, right? Like every game is measured. There's a measurement on offense and defense, the quality of the opponent, and it goes into numbers. And, I think our guys are well aware of that. What each game means, but does that mean we're going to win just because we're mad? No, we got to play good basketball. These are good teams. San Jose State is very, very good. They beat New Mexico. San Diego State has, been the best program in the Mountain West for how long? So it ain't like they're going to lay down, Patrick. Both teams will be ready to go when they get inside the spectrum. So we gotta get out of here and just take a breath tonight and figure out what went wrong. But I could tell you went wrong. It's Donovan Dent and Nelly Joseph Jr. They're, pretty much could play anywhere in the country, and they're hard to deal with, and then the foul discrepancy. It's, there was a combination of about 3 things.
Coach Calhoun's post-game thoughts after the Aggies drop it to the Lobos 82-79, picking up their 4th loss in the year. 2nd loss on the road, 22-4 for the Aggies on this season. Now 2 full games behind the Lobos in the Mountain West standings. Stockton, as we get ready to wrap things up here, I also want to shout out the softball team winning today. The Lady Aggies taking it over California Baptist, I believe. The tennis team also winning today. So the A is blue on this Sunday. Congratulations to those Aggies teams for pulling it together. Final thoughts as we get ready to wrap things up here on Aggie Call.
Oh, I'm deeply frustrated. I need to just go vent for a while and disconnect from basketball for a while. really good team in New Mexico, really good basketball team, but there's just no doubt in my mind that they got bailed out by one specific official tonight, and Utah State should have been able to split this season series if the correct calls are made and if an objective official is involved in the game. So really disappointed that was not the case, but pleased with the product for Utah State and pleased with the fight that they showed, especially late in the game, knowing how much they had to work against. Sometimes that's going to happen, and I believe that they'll bounce back pretty strong come Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, it's kind of odd to feel this peaceful after a loss about the team's performance and how it went.
Because it was not the team.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Everybody, you can look at the stat sheet and say, oh, well, X, Y, and Z player didn't do it. But what Coach Calhoun asked his team to do is come in and execute against one of the top team in the conference and a very hostile environment, and came out with a 3-point loss. And you could put asterisks by it and say there's some mitigating circumstances over here that are causing problems. So with that being said, I think we all take a deep breath tonight. I think we look forward to the matchup. I think it's coming up Wednesday night, right? Stockton against San Jose State.
Wednesday in the Spec, and then back in the Spec Saturday for San Diego State on February 22nd.
Yep, so we've got that stuff going on. So for Stockton Jukes, I'm J.D. Walker. Thank you for listening. You're in Cache Valley and allowing us to do radio for the greatest people on earth in the greatest place on earth. And the A is blue tonight, thanks to the softball team and the tennis team. And we'll look forward to another one coming up this Wednesday night. Have a great Sunday evening. We'll see you back here next time.
Utah State broadcast has been a presentation of News Talk KVNU and the Cache Valley Media Group, the heritage home for the Aggies.